Welcome back to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good, and we love talking about food. In this case, we're honored to be joined by Kris McCorkel. She's the chef and owner of Black Diamond Culinary. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely. So we get to talk about food and wine and pastries and so much more, but this all starts with you and really your family at this point. So give us some personal background, some storylines for starting Black Diamond Culinary.
So it began when I was a young child. I was a good girl, but not a good student. It was much more exciting to read Julia Child's cookbook under the covers than to do a Jane Eyre report. Oldest of six, grandparents, parents, and, kind of like my big fat Greek wedding, but it was Irish-German family in the kitchen, holidays, cooking, baking. And it was much more fun for myself to do that than to cook. Later in life, after college, I got on with the airline. I was really blessed as a child. My dad was a pilot. My mom was a flight attendant. We spent our summers in Europe. My parents were foodies and wine people. So being with the airline, it allowed me the luxury to continue traveling in my adult years and trying cuisines from all over Europe.
And so talk about what your son does.
So, well, my former husband's a French pastry chef. My current husband, we met while we were working at the airline through coworkers after both of our divorces. But my former husband was a French pastry chef. So I had the luxury over 30 years to go back and forth and work with him. When we moved to the States, he was the executive pastry chef at the Ritz-Carlton in Pasadena. We moved to Nashville 28 years ago. He went to work for the Wild Boar restaurant. We was the executive pastry chef. Bob Wagner was the executive chef. And they had the luxury for waiting on all the old time country music people and Congress people, people in the art world, foodies. It was one of the top restaurants, the Wild Boar, in its heyday when it was up and running. So doing that and having two beautiful children with my former husband and living in France, my son graduated from Brentwood High School here in Franklin, Tennessee, and moved to France. And he's advanced court master sommelier and working currently on his world sommelier. So having the knowledge through him on wines, it gave me the incentive to want to open my own business because unfortunately, all my parents have passed away. My husband's parents have passed away. Kids are out of the nest. Second chapter of my life was to open Black Diamond Culinary and to do cooking classes. And before the pandemic was in our vocabulary, going the luxury one more time, being with the airline to go see my son several times and eat beautiful meals with beautiful French chefs. And my goal was to open up a cooking class and reproduce the beautiful meals from France, because some people couldn't travel to Europe, whether they could afford it or have the luxury to eat in very high-end restaurants. But the pandemic has also made travel hard to Europe. So I still want to bring the influences of France and Italy. Mostly that's my cuisine cooking here at Black Diamond Culinary.
Absolutely. So let's dive into how the cooking classes work. And so talk about how it works in terms of pulling the classes together and obviously the recipes and everything being shared. So go ahead and dive into the magic of the classes.
So the magic of the classes consist of people who want to continue learning new cuisines, new ideas. The American diet only has 8 go-to normal recipes, comfort foods such as mac and cheese, pizzas, hamburgers, hot dogs, spaghetti. But to bring a little bit more interest to your cooking at home. And because of the pandemic, more and more families are back home eating at the table and wanting to create new dishes. And so my goal was to create beautiful new dishes that were not only beautiful, but affordable. Everybody's on a budget, food costs are up, and I want to create both the luxury of learning to find the best deals and learn to cook beautiful foods with your family and friends, of course.
You also obviously tie in an event space. And so this can be an in-person gathering and obviously an event.
So this has been really amazing. The pandemic actually made us think outside the box. A Black Diamond can hold 40 people comfortably if we do a wine and appetizer tasting. But we're also becoming like a team building event space. We've had Dave Ramsey's groups, we've had text groups, we've had Book of the Month clubs, women's tennis groups, Starbucks management teams, team building events of all kinds with both men and women or just women. I had a beautiful group of women who were in the construction business on all levels, and they just wanted to let their hair down without their male coworkers. And so they came and did a pasta class with us, and we had an absolute blast.
How does that come together in terms of a group reaching out and saying, hey, we want to host an event? So then how does it work with you in terms of the pairings and what to put together? Talk about that process.
So our classes are about 2 hours long, and it's hard to create a 4-course menu with, 20 or 30 people. So because they've had a long day when they come in at 5:30 for a dinner class, and let's say they choose a pasta class, that they come into appetizers and a glass of wine, just to kind of let everybody get together, kind of unwind. And then I sit and explain what we're going to do for the night. And let's just say they choose to make either gnocchi, fettuccine, or ravioli. I've got all the ravioli cutters out, all the fillings out, show them how to make pasta dough. They get to fill their own ravioli and make it. So it's kind of a team building event. Then everybody cooks it up and we sit down and have a beautiful dinner here with another glass of wine, of course.
Absolutely. For you on the training side, when you look at individuals coming in, and some obviously have some culinary experience, others have completely none. What are some of your favorite tips to throw out there right from the start in terms of here's how you can, become a better chef yourself? What are some of your favorite tips?
Oh my gosh. With the pasta class, there's so many wonderful tips. And I also give a little bit of a history lesson about Italy and how pastas got started, and different regions of Italy have different style pastas, and that, basic pastas start actually with just flour and water. And then when you get to different part of Italy, they either add eggs, whole eggs, or egg yolks. So they get a little bit of a history lesson, and then talk about flours. The natural flours that Italy uses a 00 flour, which is a winter wheat, which is very much softer than a summer wheat. And we can talk about a month just on flours by itself, all-purpose flours or semolina flours, whole wheat flours. So just getting a little bit of a lesson on different kind of flours and what works best when you make pasta.
When you look at pairing the wines with the meals, what are some of the things that you look for to create the perfect pairing?
Well, I know in Tennessee, we probably like mostly California wines. So I try to introduce Italian if we're doing an Italian pasta class, or if we're doing like a French style Saturday night dinner class, and introduce some French wines. And we try to keep it at a price point that's affordable, under a $30 bottle price, but still introducing them to the flavors of Italy or the flavors of France, and just giving them a little bit of lessons on wine, because some people really don't know much about wine. They just open a bottle, pour it, they like it, they drink it. But wine is so complex, So if you ever have insomnia and you want to Google the theory of wine, that will put you to sleep the first 2 paragraphs, because the wine, just like any fruit and vegetables, with climate warming, the rain, the sun, the moon, it's just a combination of things, how our grapes and our fruits and everything tastes so different from year to year, depending on the rain, the sun, and everything else, and the weather elements that are going on.
What's been one of the biggest lessons when you look at during the pandemic and all the kind of roller coaster ride throughout, and then coming out? What's a lesson that you learned that you're applying even now to this day?
So one of the biggest lessons that I personally had to learn was patience. This was not an easy task to start and open the doors during the middle of a pandemic. Patience and perseverance and passion. I mean, I have a passion for foods and wines. Being a ticket counter supervisor for a major airline carrier, I checked in 10,000 people a day. I love people from all over the world, and there's nothing better to get people together with foods and wine, family and friends. It's like a luxury that we kind of take for granted. And then introducing some new foods that people didn't even think that they could make has been really exciting to watch them. And I posted a couple videos on my Instagram. We had a young lady that she just didn't even think she could do pasta. And then I posted it. She did this little dance when the pasta came out of the pasta roller, and I posted it, and we had the most hits of 35,000 people watched her do this little pasta dance while she's holding the pasta in her hand. She was adorable. So it's just been really exciting to get back to see people again, and to teach people something that they might have never decided to create before.
Absolutely. So to me, I put that on the chef side. Now on the owner side, what's been something as a business owner trying to, build the business and obviously starting during the pandemic, what's been a couple of lessons that you've learned as a business owner?
Oh my gosh, we can still continue with patience. And then just trying to meet all the right people that are smarter than I am in business. Talking to bankers, talking to people in the restaurant business, because we were all trying to figure this pandemic thing out and how can we help each other and how can we make this work? So working with other small businesses and tossing ideas around during a pandemic has really opened my eyes a lot. And women helping women in business has been really important for me as well. Not that I haven't had some great advice from some men chef, but it's been really enlightening for women helping women in the Franklin, Brentwood, Cool Springs area.
I think that's a valuable tip in and of itself, is surrounding yourself with the cast of individuals who are going to inspire you and support you, but also, the experts too, that you can glean their advice and insight. What's maybe one or two other bits of advice that you would pass along to other entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs?
Passion. Sometimes the dollars might be a little bit shorter than you want, but if you have a passion and a dream and you believe in it wholeheartedly and you've got people behind you that support you, you can make it work. It's just a lot of 24/7 hitting the pavement, talking to the right people, and finding people that have the same dream and passion that you might have.
Speaking of vision, what is your vision when you talk about the future and some of the next steps? What's your vision for the future?
Oh my gosh, I still want to continue to teach people about beautiful foods and wines and just bringing people together, families together. I think before the pandemic, we were losing a little bit of that, sitting down at the family table. Everybody, I grew up without a cell phone, I'm going to date myself, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I always said, thank goodness I didn't have a cell phone because mom and dad would be tracking me every minute. But just putting your cell phones and then sitting with your kids, asking them how their day went at school and what they're doing in school. And even the kids to engage with the parents saying, hey, mom and dad, how was your day at work? Or how's everything going? Or what can we plan for a family event? What are we going to cook for dinner? And learn to make menus and sit down at least, 2-3 times a week. It's so important, family and friends, life is so precious and short that we just need to take a breath and smell the roses once in a while, or a glass of wine, either way.
Absolutely. How can the community help your efforts? So how can we plug in and how can we help?
Well, gosh, I'm looking for people that are foodies, that are passionate about food and wine, that want to go an extra step and learn new and beautiful foods, getting groups together. Just not only women in business, but men too, just working together as a community, as a team. I have some ideas for fundraising that I would like to help. During the pandemic, even here at Williamson County, there's so many families that go without meals, and getting women together to maybe make meals for different churches, or just, being working for the community beside, us giving back, beside us needing help. We need help too, but helping the community, I believe you get back tenfold.
Go ahead and talk about the different ways that we can reach out, start those conversations. So when you're looking at using the space and also booking the classes, go ahead and talk about where everything starts, website, social media. Where do we go?
So you can find us on our website at Black Diamond Culinary. We are also on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're probably on several other things. I can't think of them all, Twitter and all, et cetera, et cetera. But, I post beautiful foods every day. I ask questions, what would you cook for fall? Just staying in touch with the seasons and flavors. And like I said, it's really important to be with family and friends and coming up with creative and new dishes and foods and just enjoying life.
How does all of this feed your soul? So when you look at, the pasta dance and seeing the magic come to life in their eyes with what they can do with food, how does this feed your soul?
I love being a teacher. I never believed in my second chapter of my life that I would be teaching, especially foods. I'm not culinary trained, but I worked next to some absolutely fabulous chefs all over France and learned a lot from them. But I believe my passion and sharing it with everybody and teaching them something or create something that they've never tried before, or they were too afraid to eat, like do a beautiful breasted duck and a port wine cherry sauce reduction. And they thoroughly enjoyed it. They go, we never would have had duck if we didn't come to a cooking class here. So just creating new foods and seeing people's faces and actually enjoying everything that they're cooking up. I'm just guiding them along.
Wrap up one more time with the website. Where do we go to learn more?
Black Diamond Culinary is our website. You can look us up. We're in Franklin, Tennessee, and we're looking forward to hopefully a lot of people join us for cooking classes, team building events with their companies, or private events here at Black Diamond Culinary.
Well, Kris, thank you for all you do. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you and hope to see everybody soon.